Now the topic is capacity building for education leaders for decision making, why choices matters. So I'll begin with the context. As all of you know that Maharashtra is one of the leading state. As Professor Shashikala Vanjari rightly said, Maharashtra is a leading state in two contexts I'm talking about. It is a powerful state because it has attracted 30% of the FDI out of 100%. Maharashtra number one, number two Karnataka 29, number three Gujarat 16%, and all three together, goes to 75%, and rest all states contribute remaining one. So that is why it is number one, a powerful state. Number two, Maharashtra per capita power consumption is about 1300 and odd. Punjab is of course 1600, Gujarat 14, Maharashtra is 13, number 3. And where there is more power, I'm talking about electricity power, or it may be even solar nowadays, those states are powerful states because the lot of industrial opportunities and startup opportunities for big manufacturing and big industries. So we are blessed with power, that electricity power, and also FDI. And these two are extremely important for any state to prosper. Apart from this, Aurangabad to now the Sambhajinagar, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, it is one of the big cities in Maharashtra. The biggest cities are going to suffer in future. So big cities are going to have a lot of future in coming years. And I'm lucky that this Sambhajinagar is not a big city because if you see the statistics, top 6 cities in the world, they have 10% of the global population. And top 600 cities in the world have 30% of the global population. So this speaks a lot about a huge migration. According to McKinsey report, 2.5 crore people every year migrate from rural to urban. So that migration is going to create a lot of problems, and very big cities are going to face a lot of challenges. And that is where the mid cities are going to play a very, very important role. They are neither big nor small. I think that is the best size fit for today's context, and Aurangabad comes in that category. Now, if you look at the context globally, disruptions are happening faster than fast. Speed up change, be change is the title, but speed up change is also extremely important. And the kind of disruptions are happening. Now, if we don't disrupt others, we will get disrupted. And that is where a disruption, the way it is happening in all the sectors, including education sector. And you have seen during the COVID, within no time we all learned how remote teaching and remote learning happens. So that kind of disruptions are coming, that is one part. Second, the National Education Policy 2020, Professor Shashikala ma'am has very elaborately and comprehensively she has given from both primary to higher education, and prior to that, Professor Vilas Sakpalji connected the dot between primary and higher education, plus the various components, how to connect each other. I think both two sessions, they are covered very elaborately, both the topics, so that NEP 2020 is a gold standard. It is a game changer. And it is going to transform the Indian education in a different scale. So in this context, the topic given, capacity building, plays a very, very important role. And in that also, there are 4 types of institutions are going to emerge in NEP 2020. One is multidisciplinary education research universities, MERU. Second one is a comprehensive teaching universities, largely in undergraduate education. Third one is a degree granting college. And the fourth one is the cluster universities. And in between there are, a distinct university circular has already UGC has drawn, and deemed university circular is also there. So these are all going to make every institute, every higher education institution is going to be autonomous. They are going to grant the degree, and they are autonomous. And affiliated colleges are going to disappear. They may be clustered, they may be comprehensive state or central university or deemed as distinct university. And the affiliated colleges are not going to be there. They are in a different form, and they are with more power as an autonomous institution. So this is a kind of structure going to come. And in that context, the multiple entry, multiple exit, Anusandhan National Research Foundation, particularly focusing on multidisciplinary, and as ma'am has rightly pointed out, multidisciplinary and holistic education. That is a very important aspect of NEP 2020, which is founded on IKS, Indian Knowledge System. And that is the foundation for entire NEP 2020. So in this context, all these four types of institution, different kind of capacity building is required. A Meru, highly focused on research. Comprehensive teaching, it is more of teaching, but research is also there. Means research component is also there. Degree granting colleges, they are small institutions. Sometimes people used to say small is beautiful. A small institutions, maybe ISER, maybe IIMs, maybe some autonomous institutions or degree granting colleges, they may play a role of, if they are in higher education space, means postgraduate education, they may be more in research. If they are in undergraduate, they may be more in teaching. So these are the different kind of institutions, and they need a different kind of capacity, but everybody needs a leader and leadership kind of capacity building. Now when it comes to the life cycle of the universities or institutions, higher education institutions, some of the institutions, they are just starting. If you see the life cycle, some of them exist many years. They are in a different point in the life cycle of the higher education space. And some of them are in the startup stage. Some of them are, startup means introduction stage. They are just started 4 or 5 years back or 10 years before. Some of them already in the growth stage. They are moved from startup to growth. And some of them from growth to reach the maturity stage. So this kind of institution again needs a different kind of leadership. A growth stage, a leadership requirement is different than a maturity stage. Some places probably you need, the maintenance may work out. In some places you need to build the institutions. So therefore in all the category of institutions, depending upon where they locate in life cycle, the different kind of traits are required. So therefore in leadership capacity building, if you see the institutions, those who are exist for many years, probably the one is you are operating day to day, whatever it is exists for many years you are doing. At the same time, you are continuously improving in each and every activity is what you are doing. One is maintaining the quality, hallmark of excellence, and second, again, you are making attempt to continuously improve. And third, sometimes every 2-3 years, you also have to do the breakthrough. I'm talking about third eye of Siva. Siva has 3 eyes. One is day-to-day activities, second one is a continuous improvement, and the third one is, if Siva opens the third eye, that is a breakthrough, that is going to be a game changer, that university. Suddenly you are bringing, I was, morning talking to Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Vilas Sakpaji, he said we started semiconductor. Ahead of time, if the government is thinking of the semiconductor and 10,000 billion US dollar 2022 budget, our Honorable Railway Minister announced, and keeping that in mind, MGM University leadership is coming with the semiconductor program, and already plans have been launched by our Honorable Prime Minister in Gujarat and Assam. So this clearly indicates that the moment requirement comes, people look towards MGM University. So that thinking ahead of time is extremely important. So therefore, when it comes to leadership, probably we have to see what are the roles leaders are doing, whether it is a school education or whether it is a higher education, what leadership role they are playing. So now if you ask me, they play a different kind of leadership role. One is the leader will act as a psychologist because they have to deal with all kinds of people. They have to deal with all the variety of people. Unless until you understand the minds of the people, the leader cannot play a significant role to optimally achieve the goal. So therefore, leader will act as a psychologist, and the second, leader also act as a great teacher. If leader is a teacher, that is a foundation. Every leader has to be a teacher. If you are a good teacher, then you expect from others to be a good teacher. So the second role is a good teacher. Third role as a teacher, as a leader, one is to also look as a mentor. Because leaders create a leaders. That is extremely important. The heads of the institution, going forward, in due course of time, they have to create many leaders. For example, when I was working at MDI Gurgaon, moved from BITS Pilani to MDI Gurgaon, my mentor, Professor Pritam Singh, was the director. He was earlier director at Lucknow and MDI. And till last year, if you see, out of 20 plus 1 IIM, 12 directors belong to those two institutions, MDI Gurgaon and Lucknow, because he built the leadership pipeline in those two institutions. Leaders build the leaders means how to prepare the people for the future leadership. And today I am very happy that Shashikala ma'am is a nurturing future leadership program under the leadership of NUPA. It is happening, how to prepare the future leaders as a part of NEP. So therefore, the second important task for the leader is not only they have to do the administration, but they also have to mentor the people so that in future they will become a leader of the education. That role they play. Apart from mentor, they also play a role of coaching. They coach all the faculty members in different departments. And apart from this, they also play a role of police officer. Police officer is a not good word, but the head of the institution, the moment head of the institution enter the campus or university or the institution, and they have been examined by everybody, the faculty members, the students and outsiders. And that is why how to be there in the campus, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you interact, that is extremely important. And therefore, the heads of the institutions, examination is taken every day, day in, day out, but at the same time, they should remain as a role model. Therefore, once they become role model, they also just take a walk in the campus, automatically people come to know that our head of the institution was close to our department. Means they know that they are the first one and they are the one role model. Automatically people, the control mechanism, the discipline in the institution comes if actually it is not policing, but you have to take a walk. You have to take a quality walk in the campus. That itself is good enough to bring the discipline in the institution. It is for the principals of the schools and it is for the directors and also the vice chancellors. That is an important role. And apart from that, the head of the institution also play a role as a PR director. You have to build the brand university. Unless, because in Hindi people say, jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. So unless until you say what you are, people will not come to know. Whenever opportunity comes, you should be the first one to tell what you are, who you are, and what are your USPs. And that job is also done by the vice chancellor or head of the institution or schools. Then another important aspect, the head of the institution also play a role as a social worker. Where we are located in that community, you are strongly connected. People should say that it is my university. When we strongly connected, we established a great rapport with the local community. Within the locality, people are not knowing our university, who we are, then there is no question of expecting globally people should know us. So locally we should be known. And therefore, I think, I am sure you all know that our Honorable Prime Minister has come out with the slogan, local, vocal and global. So first we should be strong locally connected, and how to connect with the local community and how to establish a rapport so that they should say it is my university, our institute. That kind of role also head of the institution has to play. So normally these 10, 12 roles, normally any head of the institution, directly, indirectly they play. Now once we have to play this kind of role, then in that case, what kind of capacity we need to be built so that they can be a great leaders to head the institutions. Now to head the institution, basically one has to, level one for the leadership is one has to understand oneself. Understanding oneself, who you are. So understanding yourself, who you are means, once you understand who you are, first of all, in any education institution, we are first teachers. I have to be a great teacher. So once you are the teacher, and the second one also you have to understand, not only teacher, but you also understand others as a teacher, because you are heading the institution, you should also understand the others. While understanding the others, you should utilize your intelligence. The intelligence is extremely important thing, because unless until you understand the faculty member with whom you are working as a head of the institution, while allocating the role, because as a head of the institution, I have right to allocate which task to whom. So I can allocate any task to anybody, but if I do, my rights goes wrong. As a right, if I allocate right person wrong thing, then results will not come. You will not achieve the goal. A person who is expert in IT, I may put him as a PR, who is expert in PR, I put somewhere else. Means people are always right, but if you don't give the right task to the people, then probably the work will not happen. So therefore, it is extremely important choosing the right task for the people in the university, that almost majority of the task can be delegated, basically empowering the people and giving the task. That is extremely important capability one has to build. And to do that, we have to have a trust and faith in those people. So how to encash and trust and faith, and also giving the future goal, because if you see, somebody has rightly said, anything, everything, while doing, we always have to keep end in mind. What is the end? If end goal is that, then who can deliver that and whom we can assign, or what group or what team I can make. And even while making the team, if the two people are not mingling each other, they are not in talking terms, if you make a team of such people, probably results will not come. And that is where a role as a psychologist plays an important role. How to create a synergy, 1 + 1 + 1 as 111 instead of 3. So that is extremely important, identifying the right group of people for right kind of tasks. So while doing that, understanding self, and also understanding the second important capacity building we have to consider is the leveraging the human potential. So how to leverage the human potential? If you ask, there are hundreds of people working with us as a faculty member, then unless until we understand them, putting them in a right group, right task, and also activity, heading the activity, that is extremely important, leverage the potential. Then only optimally we can utilize their services for building the institution. Then the next aspect, while capacity building, you have to keep in mind is, we also have to think ahead of time. As Professor Sakpalji thought about ahead of time for starting the new programs and new activities, it is extremely important. Somebody has very rightly said that wise look at the future, fool look at the present. Looking at the present, if you do, probably tomorrow we'll be at wrong place or we'll be thrown out of the market of this higher education sector. So keeping tomorrow in mind, we have to be acting. So therefore, we have to always keep in mind yesterday of tomorrow is today. Yesterday of tomorrow is today. If you act today, tomorrow will be in the right place and probably we will become a role model for the rest of the institution. So that thinking ahead of the time is important. And for thinking ahead of the time, to do that, it is extremely important we should know a sense making. What are the 3-4 things are going to disappear in coming 3 to 4 years? And what are the new things are to be added in higher education? Because future belongs to smart universities. Future belongs to high-tech and high-touch universities. Traditional today we are partially physical and digital. We are in a physical kind of things. We are using partially physical and partially digital. I was very carefully listening what AI is talking about my introduction. And it has become permanently offline and online has become mainline. So in this context, what I want to say is, it is extremely important. Every disruption brings the contextual change. Remote teaching, remote learning, and remote managing the team of people. And in this kind of context, one good thing happened is, globally anybody can come and teach virtually to students of MGM University. Global classrooms are already there. And you can just call expert from any university, any part of the world, they can teach. Globally, they can do the project, virtual projects. With different university students, they can do the project. And without going abroad, students can also do a project. For example, one from MGM University, one from Australian University, one from Russia, one from Canada. And all the countries have different time zone. One will be in the morning, another will be in the in the midnight, one may be afternoon, one may be some other time. All the 4 different time zones, they will be sitting and working for a project for a term. This teaches a lot about cross-cultural understanding. They are at different time zone and how to work together. Otherwise, after graduation, students, when the people in IT industry, midnight they sit and they work with somebody else because of the time zone. That practice happens in the education. So therefore, also global understanding how to build the global network and global partnership, that to strategic partnership with global university, extremely important role the leaders have to play. For example, when I was, of course, IIM Trichy was my first startup, and afterwards I built IIM Nagpur. When I came here, I was talking to some of the university people in UK. They said, you have to pay so much of money for the dual degree program. I said, we are only looking at the universities abroad, those who are on equal footing. There is no tuition fee exchange, only exchange of students, that to equal number. We did University of Lille, 6 months, their students will come to our university 6 months, our students will go there, end of the 2 years, they will get 2 degrees, one from India, one from France. So I think the time has come, as ma'am has rightly said, country is on the movement. And leadership has moved from India to global level. You all know that one of the important aspects ma'am was talking about, a demographic dividend. And today if you talk about India, it is the highest youth population, working population in the world. And youth population is extremely important for the leadership. If you look at 1965, Japan was the youngest nation. 1980 to 95, Japan became super economy and ruled the entire world. 1980, Singapore was the youngest nation. 95 to 2000, Singapore was super economy. 2000, China was the youngest nation, and till today, China's leadership is entire world has accepted as a global leadership from China. From China now, according to many predictions, India is going to take a global leadership from China, and it is going to remain with India. And if you all look at the GDP we are talking about, ma'am talked about Viksit Bharat 2047. If you talk about the GDP, we took not almost 60 years to reach 1 trillion economy. 1947 to 2007, we took 60 years to reach 1 trillion economy, but 2007 to 14, we took only 7 years to reach 2 trillion economy, and we took just 6 years to reach 3 trillion economy. And February 2024, we have reached 4.11 trillion economy. And when our Honorable Prime Minister under the Ministry of Commerce, 2018, when the vision for India for developing economy was planned for 5 trillion economy, people were thinking it is unachievable goal. It is impossible kind of task. But today we have reached 4.11, and according to IMF, International Monetary Fund, India is going to achieve this target by 27, 28, they have predicted. However, as per the India's prediction, we are going to make IMF prediction wrong and India's prediction right. By 26, 27, we are going to hit the target of 5 trillion economy. So 5 trillion economy, 26, India is going to achieve, beating Japan and Germany. So from 5th largest economy, India is going to reach 3rd largest economy. Why I am telling, when the country is going to take a leadership of the globe, expectation from institutions are going to be more and more, and our roles will be changing from just running the education. Entire globe is looking at Indian higher education, because according to NEP 2020, by 2035, 40, India is looking, to global level to emerge as a Vishwaguru. So therefore, responsibility, accountabilities are going to increase when India is going to take a leadership role at global level. And therefore, Viksit Bharat 2047, India's economy is going to reach 30 trillion economy. 30 trillion US dollar means, 18,000 to 20,000 per capita to become a developed nation. So if that is the target, higher education institutions have to play a very, very key role. And in that context, our rules, what we are doing today, it is going to change tomorrow. And therefore, a capacity building, for example, when I was at MDI Gurgaon, I used to do the TKIP 1 program, TKIP 2, TKIP 3. It was for engineering college institutions, all the 250 engineering institutions and 25 NITs, we did the program. So that capacity building program at that context was different. And tomorrow it is going to be entirely different, because the entire globe is looking towards Indian higher education institutions. So therefore, the context is a king, and context is going to teach a lot. And therefore, by developing a capacity for leadership building, these are all the 10, 12 roles. One has to look into that. For that purpose, we have to be very clear about the governance and management. That is the important aspect of the leader. Leader is the education institution. Leader is the bridge between the governance and management. When it comes to the governance, it may be in university as and maybe a senate, but in going forward, according to NEP, there is a board of governors for the university, and the vice chancellor is the executive member of the board of governors, and whatever the policy decisions are taken, the execution role is done by the management, and there vice chancellor is the head of the management. They have to implement through the various deans and the activity heads. So the governance and management is one of the important capacity one has to build. Second important is we have to look at the financial management, fundamentals of finance. Many people, those who are heading the institution, they may not be having the background of finance. So the understanding that capacity is extremely important, because at the end of the day, you should know that what is that we are going to achieve and where we have to work more. For example, I run the executive education, and ours being an 8-year-old institution, but we generate 30 crores every year from executive education. I always sit with my dean of the executive education every quarterly, tell me what are the figures, because we are a business school, we are in the business of business, and we have to prove others also how to generate the business, how to make money. So every quarter we sit and we see that what is the figure and how at end of this year, how many percentage we are going to grow in the business. So that kind of financial understanding role is extremely important for institutions, definitely in private as well as government sector also. We have to stand on our own. Support from government is going to be reduced year by year. So therefore, how to stand on our own, it is extremely important financial aspect. Third one is a negotiation to win-win. That trait is extremely important for the directors and vice chancellors. Negotiation to win. You have to do a lot of procurement. You have to do a lot of negotiation. Even when foreign partner comes, as I told you, they say that you have to pay so much of tuition fee. We'll give our degree. They still, UK people think that we are supreme over India. So we will not accept that. When we negotiate, at that time, it has to be win-win. It should never be the win-lose. So that quality we have to inculcate, negotiation to win-win. So these are some of the things we have to inculcate. And another important aspect, I think I like the most what Professor Shashikala Vanjari told is, small things make a big difference. That automatically reminds me a quote of Nobel laureate working in slum area of Mother Teresa, slum area of Calcutta. She used to say, there are many people to do the big things, there are very few people to do the small things. Doing small things, she got the Nobel Prize, so that small thing many times make a big difference. That is a life change, or that is a game changer, a turning point, that small things. Therefore, it is extremely important how to get into the exposure. Very variety of exposure is extremely important for the heads of the institution. Because our students, if they are going to the industry, then what industry wants and what we equip, that is extremely important for head of the institution to know. Then only we appreciate any change faculty member bringing to the vice chancellor or the director. If we don't know, then we will not appreciate those who are proactive faculty members coming with us. Therefore, what we equip and what industry wants, that alignment is extremely important. So that exposure of the corporate world and global exposure is extremely important for the principals or the directors. And going forward in NEP 2020, National Credit Framework, they talked about three important things: academics, skill, and experiential learning. So how to get into pedagogical change? We used to teach when, before becoming a vice chancellor and director. So that is not going to work out tomorrow. Pedagogy is different. So it is going to be a different means, a theory, a skill, and experiential learning. Because skills have a self-life going forward. Whatever 4-year engineering students study, I am a civil engineer, probably many things have changed. Now 3D printing has come. Inventory has a less relevance. L&T I was working before going to IIM Trichy as a director. So today I was talking to L&T head of the group. He was telling in Bangalore, 2-bedroom kitchen in 8 hours we have printed. They started printing the houses. Now cars are being printed, mechanical engineering, you all teach, vendor managed inventory and all. Probably to make one gypsy car, it takes 14,000 components to make one car. Now due to 3D printing coming in, now 200 components are good enough to print a car. So this is the kind of tremendous changes are happening in the corporate world, and making the sense and how to change our curriculum and update on regular basis and major overhauling also and periodically is extremely important. And that is also because otherwise relevance will go, because we should be the first one to capture the technology. We should never be the last one to remain in this dynamic market. And our curriculum is dynamic. Regulatory framework is also going to be dynamic, because online education, earlier, restriction of the university area, restriction of the states, restriction of the country, and global students, you can't take, all those days are going to disappear. Regulatory framework is totally changing under the aegis of Higher Education Commission of India. So along with the changing regulatory framework and changing industrial scenario, we also remain very, very dynamic, so that we should be the first one if opportunities are given, if framework allows us. So therefore, compliance is one good thing. At the same time, keeping compliance in mind, we should not block innovations, because compliance will not stop innovation. Therefore, these are some of the aspects we need to get into that for the capacity building. And the most important, I think, again, the question somebody has asked to ma'am regarding the values and all, civic values somebody has asked. I think it is extremely important. All the teachers, they have to live with Indian ethos. Indian ethos means 4 important components, extremely important. One is the the spiritual value, moral values, ethical values, and civic values. These four values are extremely important. If we don't have those, then we cannot teach our students and the dynamics will change. As NEP suggested, 5 plus 3, 3 plus 4. And if you see in older days, maybe our time or our previous generation, grandparents used to raise the grandchildren. These values used to be inculcated in the house by the grandparents, and today's dynamic world and mobility, and people are moving for job from different places, their parents and grandparents will not move with them, and kids are given to maids, and there those values are not inculcated, and that is where 5 has come into picture. And in Japan, first 3 years there is no examination for the students, only first 3 years the value education is given in Japan. And in India, we are now that out of 5, that 3 plus 2, that is dedicated for that. So these are the changes, and that awareness of that, even higher education leaders should know what is happening in the primary and secondary education, that connecting the dot, what Professor Vilasji talked about. And higher education, even people at school and higher secondary also should know what is happening in the higher education, that connecting is important. And I am very happy that Ministry of Education also introduced the scheme for all CBSE principals. They have to visit the Institute of National Importance. As a part of that, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, CBSE principals visited IIM Nagpur. Because after 12th, what next? Parents come and ask the principal, or the students ask. Unless until the principal see the best of the best institutions, they will not advise and guide what next. So therefore, this connect is also, government is introducing first series where again many institutions are coming to visit my institutions. So this kind of connecting the dot, that was a very relevant, and the beginning of the conference happened with that. So that is also extremely important, how to connect the dots so that we can see the things through holistically. And when it comes to pedagogy, I think it is extremely important. Ma'am has talked about, I think higher education leaders should know. Suppose I am a mechanical engineer, I am teaching how to reduce the cost for fuel cost, how to reduce. Then while teaching as a mechanical engineering student, mechanical engineering faculty, I may say that you can achieve the fuel efficiency, you can control the speed, and when to increase, when to maintain the constant and decrease. That is one way fuel efficiency you can achieve. That is one perspective as a part of multidisciplinary. Second perspective is how to redesign the engine so that fuel cost can drastically come down. That is a disruption. So multidisciplinary means not only, many people think multidisciplinary means only adding the departments. If you add more department, that is not a multidisciplinary. University is fine, but in pedagogy also we should bring a multi-perspective so that our students should be all-round, and they should also know that what is its impact. For example, today if I go to dentist, if there is a pain, they will take out the good teeth, and then after some time I may problem of eyesight, then I go there, again that doctor will do something, then there may be ear or brain problem comes. Because they do their specialist job, but they will not study the impact. And therefore, multidisciplinary has to be in the pedagogy. Always you have to see what is its impact. So if the dentist knows that its impact is going to be good teeth, if I take it out, it is going to affect the eyesight, then probably he will find out some other solution instead of taking out. Similarly, while doing here, he has to see something, its effect on brain and ear. So that is where the multidisciplinary pedagogy is extremely important, apart from adding the department from different universities. So therefore, I am sure this conference and it is a deliberations are going to very insightful, and I am very happy to see the great topic, and also Mahatma Gandhi missions, the name of Mahatma Gandhi, and the great, Mahatma Gandhi was a 5th level leadership. If in leadership we talk about 5 level. Level 1 is as a good teacher, that is a level 1 leadership. Then as a working with other teacher, as a co-teacher, together we are teaching. That is a 2nd level leadership. Third is leader, teacher from after working sometime, they will act as a head of the department and play an important team role with others. That is a 3rd level leadership. And when they head the independently school or department as an independent, that is the fourth level, and that is, and normally people at the director, principals of the college, they come there. And the fifth level leadership is basically, it is basically you are heading the university. Sorry, in that also one more level, leadership with humility. So there are many leaders. Einstein was a great leader, but he was not having leadership with humility. He was a great leader. Steve Jobs was a great leader, but humility was missing. So, and there are people, Nelson Mandela, after coming out of 30 years in jail, he never decided to take a revenge. He was having leadership with humility. Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, there are many such examples. So I think the head of the institutions also get into the role of leadership with humility. You have to be grounded. And my suggestion is there is one book called Gopal Krishnan. I think he is IIT Kharagpur alumni, and his book was released in Kerala, Kochi, and I was one of the panelists to releasing the book. Second chapter talks about power corrupts the brain. I think that second chapter, small book, everybody, power corrupts the means when we climb the ladder in the either corporate world or education sector, from teacher to, our assistant professor, associate professor, then HOD to associate dean to dean or pro vice chancellor, vice chancellor. When you climb the ladder, he says, in chemical it is proved that a body chemicals will change and that will build the arrogancy. And because of that arrogancy, then it goes into the head. When arrogancy goes into the head, then my way or highway. That is the way it comes into picture. And that is where you might have seen that why Kodak disappeared. One mobile company has killed the Kodak. Is it not? Samsung killed the Kodak because they thought we are the world leader. Why Nokia was killed? Because they thought 14, 15, they were the leader, 16, they disappeared. Because the moment you think that my way or highway, because if you think you are at the top of the Everest and if you make any movement from the Everest, where will you go? Up or down? You will have to come down. So therefore, we should never think, we should never get into the arrogancy. We should be always at the ground, and the Everest for each one of us should be always in future, so that you will be moving upward and higher level. The moment you think I reach the destination, and from the top of the hill, any destination will bring down. And therefore, this is one of the important lessons. Power should not corrupt the brain. And that control each one of us have. We will climb the ladder in due course of time, experience and expertise, so that corruption of mind should not happen. So these are some of the things, what are the do's and don'ts also we have to keep in mind while building the capacity. And I am sure this kind of, and important one is everybody should have a mentor in your life. Those who want to accelerated path to become a leader, you should have a mentor. I was having Professor Pritam Singh was my mentor, and he not only built 14 directors from MDI Gurgaon to IIMs, it has given more director than any IIM, or even 2-3 IIM put together. They have not produced so many directors, but he was a factory of producing the directors. That kind of mentoring pipeline he used to build. So therefore, each one of you, those who want to climb the ladder as a leader, you have to have a mentor in your life. I'll end with the story. One businessman decided to, give a prize of 2 crores. He said there is a swimming pool of 200 meters, and you have to swim from this end to that. And he gave advertisement, and people around the city, they came in big number because 2 crore is a big money. They all came and wanted to participate, and they should be the first one to get the prize. There was only one prize, and large number of thousands of people came. And he said there are 2 announcements. One, he said, this end to that end, 200 meter, you have to jump here and you have to get out there, 200 meters. Second, he said, this swimming pool is full of magarmachas, crocodiles. The moment he said crocodile, those who wanted to participate, they started going back, and meantime, one fellow jumped into the swimming pool. The moment he jumped, sound came, everybody started looking in the swimming pool, what will happen to this fellow? And because there were full of crocodiles, and And this fellow jumped, and within no time he reached that end. The moment he reached that end, that fellow became unconscious. And media people came and started asking him a question: how you dare to jump? Why you jump? Even though you were knowing risk. All kind of question, but that fellow was unconscious. He was not listening. Some people came and started beating from the back and took out the water from his mouth. After 10 minutes, that fellow became conscious. Again, media people started asking the same question. At that time, this fellow opened his mouth and said, "मेरे को पहले ये बताओ कौन धक्का दिया था?" So somebody has pushed him, and he got 2 crore rupees. Mentor job is push you. And mentor always know that what you think you can't do, mentor knows that you can do it. We always underestimate ourselves, but our mentor, they always make you to work. My professor, he used to say, even though if I publish 16 papers, my professor Pritam Singh used to say, somebody comes, he has published 20 papers. And one day I went, sir, if he asked the papers, I don't have 20, how can I? He said, you see, you have not said, I have said. And I don't say this looking at today, because I look you tomorrow and I expect you to publish. That is a figure. I know you have published this, but I always give, because I want to see you tomorrow, not today. And that is where, wise look at the future, fool look at the present. Those things are extremely important. And mentor, and such a person you can't say no. You have to choose such a person as a mentor. You cannot say no to them. Even though you know that I can't do, but you start working and the day will come, you do it. And then it builds the confidence and courage. I can also do it. I was thinking I can't, but I did it. So this is how mentors push you, and they also inspire you. Inspire means fire in the belly comes. Motivation external, but inspiration within. And such people always inspires, and that is also extremely important to build your capacity to reach the higher heights and to move to the next orbit. So thank you very much. Wish you all the best, and hearty congratulations, all of you.
Your insight have illuminated the intricacies of capacity building and its pivotal role for educational leaders. Your emphasis on critical thinking, collaboration, and continuous professional development has deeply resonated us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Dr. Bhimrai Maitri another round of applause. Now I invite questions from the audience.
So there are some questions for you. The first question says that this is from Mr. Harshvardhan Jaju of NSBT. He says, I'm very much in sync with what you have said. Don't you think that the subjective knowledge of oneself is important, as that is the very foundation of Bharatiya knowledge and Bharatiya scriptures? If yes, please share your views on how to build or weave this into leadership development.
I think, you see, I am a civil engineer. I have not done any MBA and no way connected, but by practicing, I am management side. Otherwise, my all qualifications, I am BE Civil, Government College Karad, Masters Construction Engineering and Management, PhD IIT Mumbai, again in civil engineering area. But wherever I have gone, I have built the infrastructure. I have never left the civil engineering. When I moved to BITS Pilani, I was given the responsibility as a then Prime Minister Vajpayee's Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. I was Principal Technical Agency to Ministry of Rural Development for Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan. I did that. From there, I moved to MDI Gurgaon. When I joined, there were 3 programs. When I left, 9 programs. Every year, 1 building, 1 program. So how institutions are built, I learned there at MDI Gurgaon. From there, I went to Strathclyde University, Glasgow, India campus. We built the campus. Again, another institution I went, IMI, I built the campus. Then I moved to 25 years L&T Institute of Project Management. I had it 1 year. And from there, they gave a target of, paying all the expenses. You have to generate 7 crore rupees. And you will not do any training program, any business with those who are competitor to L&T. And L&T is a representative sample of the corporate world. They said you can't do it ONGC, L&T Hydrocarbon is there. You can't do it Tata Power, L&T Power is there. You can't do it infrastructure, L&T infrastructure is there. Then I said, you tell me what areas I can do. Everything you are selling, I can't. Then I did Steel Authority of India because they were not having steel. I did Gardella Chemicals in Gujarat. I did R&D project management with Maruti, and then L&T, and I was there for 11 months. 7 crore of the target, I generated 11 crore, 73% more than the target they gave. And after the 25 years, and moved to Trichy from NIT to new campus, that was, my startup first. And then from there, before completion of term, I was brought to Nagpur and I built. Now you tell me here, if your passion, if task is given, committed, dedication, I think the degree is secondary, but if you decide to learn, nobody can stop you. And if you decide to create yourself, and if you choose to do that, because each one of you have been made by your choices. What choices you make, and accordingly you will become. And choices means what you think, and what is on the site, you work on that. So therefore, if your aims are clear, because you are always in the tunnel, you turn tunnel, everybody is there. The moment this end of the tunnel I am there, I can't see the other end. Because till graduation, I was not knowing IIT, IIM, because I am coming from a small village, son of farmer, first generation. But the moment I come to know, I move to, and I am whatever I am here. But till as long as you are not knowing, nothing can be done. The moment you know, it is up to you what to choose, what not to choose. And then, and if you see in this world also, many people, Subramaniam Venkatramanan, 2009 Nobel laureate from Chidambaram MS University, Baroda, his father was working. His 3 degrees are in different, he got the Nobel Prize. Bachelor's, master's and PhD, all 3 are in different areas. But he was not having the degree in all the areas, but he developed the expertise and he got it. So therefore it is up to you, your passion, what you love. If you romance with your work, nobody can stop you to not to achieve. That is important. Automatically learning other things automatically comes. You go to everybody and you learn and you relearn. You also unlearn. Many times you have to unlearn. Unlearning is not taught, but that is extremely important. Otherwise, old assumptions, if you carry, you cannot move forward. So today, teachers are basically lifelong, learners. If you want to learn, we have to be a teacher. Students, they listen or they may not listen, but while teaching, you have to prepare a lot. So therefore, it is extremely important, each one of you, I think, have to, what is new coming, you should be the first one to capture, you should never be the last one. So if you broaden your horizon, and if you observe, if you interact, a lot of learning happens, and out of that, this, automatically what you are asking question, that is sorted out.
So the next question is from Malika Nair. She's from MGM Group of Schools. She's saying, please recommend some specific key daily practices that I should follow to build synergy in my team.
I think the number one is we should be the role model in the school. You should be the first one be there in the campus. And I tell you some example. I was in Gurgaon. Mr. Sethi was heading the Jai Bharat company. It was one of the Deming Award company, and it was supplied to Maruti. He used to say morning he used to take a walk. I used to invite him from MDI to address. He used to say, whenever I take a walk, and one day he was walking this building to that building. In between he found a bulk of cotton waste. And he was walking and he saw the waste is lying there. He took a turn and he was about to pick up that waste. And then 10 people where they were all came, and before he touched the waste, they took and they put into the dustbin. And he said, till then and till today, means last, he was telling 6 years, I never seen the waste lying in any part of it. I never told anybody, I never scolded anybody, but I was about to do, and they came, and there onwards, they always take care that the entire factory campus is neat, clean. They follow, in Japanese language, it's called 5S. They maintain it. I think if we remain role model, many will follow. And that is where quality work and taking around, and also how to engage and involve people, as ma'am has rightly said, inclusiveness. Though so many activities are happening in the institution, you cannot only give those responsibilities only the select people. Then other people will think, I think if anything, everything, this is the preference of the Vice Chancellor or Director. So if you distribute equally, because you have to identify everybody's potential accordingly, I think then automatically engagement, involvement with target, because leader job is to change the status quo. If we don't change the status quo, then probably we are not doing our job. For example, now Professor Vilasji has come here and he has multidisciplinary, has given a shape and structure. So this transformation is a job of the leader. And that is where, Swami Vivekananda told a very, very beautiful definition of leader. Leader is the one who thinks the unthinkable, who achieve the unachievable, and who sees the invisible. What others can't see, leader can see. What others can't think, leader can think. What others can't achieve, leader can achieve. I think if that kind of thing happens, everybody look towards a lot of hope and expectation, and also get mentorship or coaching from you, and that automatically happens.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Mr. N.C. Chandak. He's an independent consultant. So he's asking, do we have adequate stock of trained teachers to take charge of NEP 2020? And excess dose of commercialization in education field is damaging the quality of education.
Okay, so I think this question, I think government has already answered. I tell you, University Grant Commission has set up the committee. I think this was finalized in October 2022. So one model, myself and Krishna Gopal Krishnan from Infosys Bangalore, we were mentoring 200 vice chancellors. In turn, they train 15 lakh teachers in higher education space. There are 15 lakh teachers in higher education space. Every teacher has to undergo the training in 8 modules. Started October 2023. 22 it was designed and everything. It took another a year or so. September 5, our Honorable Minister inaugurated that program, Teachers' Day, and training already started, and many of the people in the university system, whether state, center, and autonomous institutions, they are all attending that program. And that is one. And future leadership program, NUPA, under the leadership of ma'am, that is also happening. And there are other also programs are lined up. It is in pipeline. Series of things are happening at government level. Many work is happening. And only, the result will come to the surface only after some time. Some work are happening and some already training program is already in pipeline, in process.
This is the concluding question, sir. It's from Dr. Rashmi Ajmare of JNEC. And she's asking, how important is it to consider the personality and integrity of values in leadership while making a decision?
I think it is the question itself, there is an answer. Integrity, honesty is extremely important. If you don't do that, in short run you may gain, in long run you may lose. So I think that is where I said the 4 values as a IKS, Indian knowledge system, Indian tradition. If you go by the tradition, probably we can learn today that from Adivasi area, smallest of the small village, where people are not educated, they teach us what is integrity and what are the values. And cooperation is in our blood now. Because of the Western influence, now we talk about competition. If you go to Adivasi area villages, they always hold hand each other and all together we can grow. That is a mindset according to our tradition, IKS. Even in villages, if you go, farmer's house, they will, prepare separate food for dog, cat, and also they put, earthen pot for water for the birds and food grains. So basically NEP focus is we have to not only build a character and employable person, but build a holistic human being to take care of all living being, including planet. And that is what the broad picture, global citizenship is also talked about. And therefore, this integrity is extremely important, honesty, integrity, and long run that works. In short run, probably you all have seen, Satyam Computer, even though he was studied in all great institutions, but what happened to him? He has to go to jail. You see, मोर के चक्कर में बहुत लोगों ने अपना नुकसान करके लिया है. More is very, very dangerous. You have to have put the boundary for when it comes to honesty, integrity. You may not get, but you should not leave the principle. I think that is extremely important, and NEP focuses on that only. That ethical practices and building a character, that is a part of NEP. So thank you very much. Namaskar.